So it's like 34 degrees out. It has been raining all day. So naturally, let's take the GTR for a drive. So in today's video, there's a few things I want to talk about. One thing is actually what it's like to drive this car in the rain, because before I bought it, I figured the GTR is, the ultimate all-wheel drive. It can go anywhere type of vehicle. But actually driving it in the rain, which day 2 of owning it, it downpoured all day long and I did like 50 miles on it in the rain. It breaks traction a lot and is actually quite a handful. It saves itself a lot with traction control on, of course, but it's shocking to me how it breaks loose pretty much all the time, especially if you're under boost. Now this car has Michelin Pilot Super Sports on it. They have about 6 30 of an inch tire tread remaining. So good tires, but of course it's really cold out and wet. But yeah, we'll just go over a little bit of the driving in the rain, and then I wanted to talk about how you properly can bed your brake pads. The brakes squeak a little bit. Unfortunately, when I bought it, they squeaked a lot. However, after driving a few hundred miles, they've gotten a lot better. So when I press the brake a little bit, they don't squeak, and when I slam on the brakes, they don't squeak. But just the normal brake pedal pressing force, it squeaks a lot and it's pretty annoying. So let's get into driving the GTR in the rain. All right, so we'll just get going on an acceleration. Not gonna give it the craziest amount of gas, but we'll hit boost once we get to second gear. So in second gear, that was wheel spin and traction control light flickering throughout second and into third gear. Pretty interesting. We'll go up and take a turn in a little bit, and we'll put traction control in the R setting just for the heck of it. I'm not exactly sure what the different traction control settings are in this car, but we'll downshift again. And we're keeping this kind of slow, obviously. We don't want anything too crazy. But second gear, we'll boost it. As soon as it hit 4,000 RPM, all the wheels spun, broke traction, the car got a little sideways. It's just crazy. I wasn't really expecting that. Of course, the temperature is probably a big deal with that, but when I bought it, it was like 50 degrees out and raining, and it was still doing the same thing. So third gear, same thing. I just wasn't expecting that, and it's fun because you would think with the GTR being, this all-wheel drive technological advancement of a sports car, it doesn't have that, wild side that maybe a Corvette would have, being rear-wheel drive and supercharged like a Z06. But I find that this car has a crazy amount of excitement. So we're going in a turn now. We'll do third gear again. It is nice though with the R mode, it still does save you as far as what traction control is supposed to do, but it's just funny how it can definitely get away from you. Definitely not brave enough to turn traction control off, but let's do another one. We'll get to second gear, we'll slow down a little bit, and I'm keeping this all under like 40 miles an hour, so nothing too crazy, but second gear now. Wow, it's pretty wild in the rain. Definitely wasn't expecting that, and I'm sure in a straight line, if I were to do launch control, it would just be going crazy, even with traction control in the safest setting, and then of course with it off. Oh man, that was pretty fun. All right, so we'll take a break from talking about the rain. Now let's fix the brakes. So I've been looking up online how to properly bed the brake pads into the rotors. So the dealership I bought this from, they had the car almost 3 months and it was sitting on their showroom floor the entire time. So I doubt that they even drove the car for 3 months straight. And when a car sits, it needs to be driven and kind of get everything back to working properly. When I took delivery of the car, I had a full oil change, everything done on the car, just a full servicing, just to make sure everything was good. And the brakes have gotten better. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to 45 miles an hour and I'm gonna do 4 decelerations from 45 to about 10 to 15 miles an hour. I'm not gonna slam on the brakes so ABS kicks in, but I'm gonna give it a firm press on the pedal just to slow it down very nicely. I'm gonna do that 4 times, and then I'm gonna go up to 60 miles an hour and do a much harder press on the pedal to get the brake pads a lot hotter. And doing that should do a very good job keeping the disc and the brake pads hot to really just seat together so there's no more squeaking. One thing when you do this, you don't want to just jump right into the really fast, press on the brakes to get them really hot all of a sudden. You don't want to shock everything with all of a sudden very hot situation. So we're going to turn around and do a few at 45 and then at 60, and then do a quick drive letting them cool down without touching the brakes, and then see if that solves, you might be able to hear that, these squeaky brakes in the GTR. So to now start getting the brakes squared away, hopefully, you want to be on a straight road where there's not really much traffic. Today is a Sunday, obviously a pretty crappy day out, so not really many vehicles out. We're going to hurry up, get to 45, and just do that 4 times, and then do it at 60. So we'll play some music, fast forward this, and get to it. So that was 4 for the 45 mile an hour one. Now by the end of this, the brake pads and rotors honestly are probably going to be smoking. So now we're going to get up to 60. A lot harder on the brake pedal. Down to about 20. And the good thing with the GTR, it's pretty quick, so I can get back up to 60 very fast. Number 2. And again, you don't want to come to a complete stop. Now, if I were to look at the rotors after all this, there's a good chance, being steel rotors, that they would actually be pretty blue with the heat. And I will say, not getting into crazy boost, the car accelerates just like I would expect. A little wheel spin right there. So this is the last one now. So I'd like do 8 to 10. So that was about it. Now we're just gonna cruise for about 5 minutes, not touching the brakes, just to let everything cool off. So all those heat cycles in and out like that, I should have done a very good job of everything getting hot to a very hot temperature. So the last few times I hit the brakes, there's a little bit of brake fade going on. Not really much that I could tell, being that I wasn't slamming on them from 100 miles an hour or anything. So now we're just gonna cruise a little bit, pop it back into auto, just let it cool down. And then we'll circle back and see if the squeaking is gone. So it's been a few minutes cruising around now without touching the brakes. Now we're coming up to the first time I shall touch the brakes. Let's see if we squeak. That was quiet. Something as little as that makes me so happy, because honestly, like, I was a little bummed when the car got delivered how squeaky the brakes were, because honestly, it's just so annoying and just annoying to hear. But that was perfectly quiet. Let's come to a slower stop and see. So as we go around this turn. It worked. So comment below, what have you guys done to successfully fix squealing brakes? Because let's come to almost a stop. No noise. What have you guys done to also successfully fix that? Because as far as I can tell, that's the only way to actually do it. When I had the car checked over once I got it delivered and oil changed and all that kind of stuff, I asked them about that and they said either get new brake pads or rotors or do this. So as far as I can tell, that's all you can actually do. No noise. That is, oh, that's so nice. I'm so happy. Oh, all right, well, we successfully fixed these squealing brakes on the GTR. Now the car is tip-top shape. So when I got it, I did a full oil change on it, air filters, checked the tire pressure, had a full inspection inside and out, underside, electronics and everything, just to make sure the car absolutely was pristine. It came from a Nissan dealership with regular maintenance, so I was pretty confident in the vehicle, but just a few little things I wanted to fix, and the squealing brakes was the last thing, and we are good. So that means let's talk more about driving the all-wheel drive 545 horsepower GTR in the rain. So now we'll put traction control off, which I haven't really done before. And again, we're not doing anything crazy speeds, but let's just give it some gas in a straight line like this. It is a handful if you're under boost. And of course, if you drive it normally, it's no big deal. It handles very well. With traction on, it does save you, which is great. This car is a vehicle where the limits are so high, you gotta be doing something ridiculously dangerous, honestly, to actually get to the limits. But even just playing with them a little bit around town, slow speeds. That was a spin in the upper RPM in second gear. Well, I think that about sums up today's video. Just something quick. I wanted to fix the squeaky brakes and then talk about what it was like driving in the rain, because it can actually get loose from you if you're not paying attention. If you do have traction control off and you get under boost, you gotta be careful because it has a ton of power, and being that it's all-wheel drive, it has a ton of grip, which also means all four wheels can go crazy, which can obviously put you in a pretty sketchy situation. So anyway, that about wraps up the quick little video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a huge thumbs up, smash the subscribe button. We'll see you guys in the next video.